What would you do if saving a stranger's life cost you everything? Your dream job, your daughter's future, and your last chance to escape poverty. A desperate father misses the most important interview of his life to rescue a collapsing elderly woman at a train station, only to discover she's a billionaire who owns the very company that just rejected him. And now she's about to turn his world upside down. Tell us in the comments where you're watching this video from. And may you be blessed with favor and the light of success as you subscribe to this channel. The bright lights buzzed as George Washington counted wrinkled bills in his rough hands. $28.50. 6 brutal hours welding at the Chicago docks, and this was it. His phone lit up. A text from Keisha. "Dad, did you get overtime pay?" George's chest tightened. How could he tell his 16-year-old that 6 hours of crushing work barely covered bus fare? "Good day, sweetie. How's homework?" "Using my phone flashlight again. Power company called 3 times." George closed his eyes. The lights had been cut 2 days ago. He told Keisha it was city maintenance. She was too smart to believe him, but she pretended. That's what broke his heart. His brilliant daughter acting like poverty wasn't destroying them both. He rushed toward Union Station. The train gave him 37 minutes to practice his interview speech for Bennett Corporation. 37 minutes to believe this time would be different. His phone rang. "Mr. Washington, this is Sarah Mitchell from Bennett Corporation. Can you come at 4:45 instead of 5:30? Mr. Bennett wants to meet you personally." George checked his watch. 4:12. Absolutely. We've narrowed it to 3 candidates. This interview decides everything. The line died. This was it. 18 years of backbreaking work for this moment. If he got this job, Keisha could apply to real colleges. They could leave their cramped apartment. She wouldn't need phone light anymore. Union Station at 4:17. George pushed through crowds, gripping his folder of resumes and hopes. Platform 9, leaving at 4:32. Perfect timing. Then he saw her. An elderly white woman sat frozen on a bench. Silver hair perfect, expensive coat pristine. But her eyes stared blankly, hands gripping a leather case, knuckles white. Her lips moved silently. Platform 4, Platform 4. A businessman walked past without looking. Teenagers ignored her completely. All aboard Platform 9. Final call. George's head snapped toward the train. 90 seconds before his last chance disappeared. The woman tried to stand, swaying. Her case slipped, papers scattering. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Confused, terrified eyes met his. "I was supposed to catch the train downtown. Meeting about the foundation's review. But I got confused. Platform 4 or 9? 60 seconds. "Please," she whispered. "Something's wrong." Every part of George screamed to run. Keisha's future hung in the balance. But looking at her pale face, he saw his own mother, who died alone while he worked a shift he couldn't miss. 20 seconds. George dropped his folder. His resume scattered in the wind. 10 seconds. Her eyes rolled back. She slumped forward, unconscious. The train pulled away, carrying his last hope with it. George dialed 911, watching his future disappear into darkness. At Chicago Memorial Hospital, a guard blocked George. "Sir, are you family?" "I found her. I came in the ambulance." The guard looked him up and down. Work clothes, rough hands, struggle written everywhere. "I need ID." "What's your relationship to Mrs. Patterson?" "George, The woman's voice cut through. She sat up, much clearer now. He saved my life. I want him with me. 20 minutes later, George learned the truth. Margaret Patterson, founder of Patterson Industries, one of the Midwest's largest manufacturing companies. I have early dementia, she explained. Today wasn't a good day. Tell me about the train you missed. He told her everything. Keisha doing homework by phone light. 18 years of broken promises. The Bennett Corporation interview that would change everything. Margaret's face grew troubled. George, Bennett Corporation. I'm their largest investor. I own 42%. The room spun. You sacrificed your future to save someone who could have made one call and guaranteed that job. His phone rang. Bennett Corporation. Mr. Washington, about your missed interview. We've filled the position. I'm sorry. George stared at the phone. They filled it. Margaret's face flushed with anger. No, this isn't fine. Not even close. George's apartment looked worse in the gray evening. Broken buzzer. Graffiti. Smell of defeat. Keisha waited at the kitchen table. Textbooks everywhere. Dad, how did it go? The interview got postponed. That's okay, right? The hope in her voice was a knife. Yeah, baby. At 3 a.m., George sat with a calculator. The math was brutal. Rent in 5 days. Electric bill. Food. It all added up to more than he made monthly. An envelope appeared under the door. A check for $5,000. Please don't see this as charity. See it as an apology. And George tore it in half. Next morning, worse news. City University called about Keisha's scholarship. I'm sorry, she wasn't selected. Keisha found the rejection letter. It's okay, Dad. Community college is fine. But George saw the dream dying in her eyes. Margaret called that evening. The man they hired, his father's on their board. His qualifications are half of yours. I already knew the system is rigged. I want to fix this. You can't fix 18 years of being the wrong color in the wrong neighborhood. Silence. Then, you're right. But I can stop it from continuing. Tomorrow I'm visiting Bennett Corporation. They'll understand there are consequences. George watched Keisha doing homework by phone light. Okay, do what you think is right. Margaret arrived at Bennett Corporation at 8:30, walked past reception like she owned the building, which she did, and went straight to the executive floor. She'd spent the evening gathering information. In 5 years, Bennett hired 47 supervisors. 45 were white men. Mr. Bennett, Margaret said, settling into his chair uninvited. We need to discuss your hiring practices. Robert Bennett smiled confidently. Mrs. Patterson, what a surprise. Yesterday you hired a board member's son whose only experience is a summer internship. You passed over George Washington. 18 years of experience. Perfect safety record. He missed his interview saving my life at Union Station. Bennett paled. Margaret opened her briefcase. This contains evidence of systematic discrimination. It also contains my notice that I'm withdrawing my 42% investment. Surely we can discuss. Here are your options. Offer George Washington a position matching his qualifications. Or I withdraw my investment and share this with the Department of Labor and every Chicago reporter. That's blackmail. No, Robert. That's consequences. The call came at 11:47 while George was welding. Mr. Washington, this is Robert Bennett. We owe you an apology. We'd like to offer you Director of Operations. $95,000 annually, plus full benefits. George sat heavily. Director of Operations? You'd oversee 3 divisions. Your experience and character are what we need. Later, Margaret called. There's more. I'm establishing the George Washington Educational Initiative. Full 4-year scholarships for working families' children. Keisha would be our first recipient. That evening, Keisha read the scholarship letter, hand shaking. Dad, this is real. I can really go to MIT. Yeah, baby. It's real. She threw her arms around him. For the first time in 18 years, George felt like the father he'd always wanted to be. 6 months later, George stood in his office overlooking Chicago. Company safety improved 30%. They'd hired 12 new supervisors. 8 from backgrounds nothing like the old Bennett profile. Keisha texted, "Got an A on my engineering midterm. Thanks for showing me doing right pays off." George smiled. "Proud of you, kiddo." The George Washington Initiative awarded 47 scholarships in 6 months. Margaret pressured 12 companies to review their hiring. A homeless veteran named Jerome learned welding through Patterson Foundation grants. On a cold Tuesday, George found himself at Union Station again. He saw an elderly black woman sitting alone, looking confused, hands shaking as she tried to read a pill bottle. Without hesitation, George knelt beside her. "Ma'am, are you okay? Can I help?" She looked up with grateful eyes. George understood that kindness wasn't just one moment. It was becoming the kind of person who always made the same choice, over and over, until the world started looking like the place you wanted your daughter to inherit. The circle was complete, but the story was just beginning.